you have full control. You are controlling your destiny. You're taking absolute control of your life. And you decide exactly what it is that you want, and you are pursuing it. It is not who you are that's holding you back. It is the illusions of who you think you're not. This is Anders Hansen, and I'm here to help you shatter those illusions and live the life of your dreams. We're diving into a lesson now that you are absolutely going to love, as much as I have come to love it over the years. And it's a lesson around why it is easier to win. Why is it? It is easier to win, but why is that? You know, when I first heard it, I almost took it as an insult, because I associated winning with being really smart and working really hard and grinding and hustle. And it's not that at all. Actually, it's just the opposite. Winning can be a lot of fun when we do it the right way. So let's understand that Rollo May, he said it so beautifully, the opposite of courage in society is not cowardice, it is conformity. The opposite of courage in society is not cowardice, it is conformity. What does that even mean? It means the opposite of courage is doing what everybody else is doing, conformity. They conform. We're programmed to conform, we're programmed to fit in. In his opinion, the opposite of courage is that trying to fit in, that desperation almost sometimes to fit in the box and be part of the tribe and feel like we belong. It's part of the conditioning that we go through. So what we're talking about in this lesson is the power of environment. It's rather the choice of environment. So let's look at it from a broader perspective. 95 to 98% of the population, the vast majority, are never living the life they truly desire to live. And they aren't moving in the right direction. They're not winning. They're not moving ahead. They're tolerating, they're compromising, they are just following along. That's where I was. I was busy following the people around me. And what did they do? They followed the people around them. So the point I'm making is, if environment has such an impact on our results, we are the average of the top 5 people we spend the most time with, wouldn't it make sense then that you and I start to analyze the environment and consciously and deliberately choose the environment that we'd like to see ourselves in? Because if we become like the one we're surrounded by, all we got to do then is choose the environment. Everything will take care of itself. Now, because the vast majority aren't moving in any constructive direction, chances are that we are going to belong to that tribe if we don't stop up and really think. I'm going to illustrate this a little differently. It is going to be with this effect here. It illustrates what happens in a person. So first, I'm going to attempt to draw you, me, and 4 of our little friends. All right, so let's do that right now. Let's see. All right. So and then you say, well, how do you know how I look? The honest truth is, I really don't. I'm not going to draw you out in that way. I'm going to draw you out a little bit differently. There we are, 4 and 5. All right, there we are. There we are, and there's 4 of our little friends. Now, we're getting the results we are in life because we are at their level. Now, let this pad represents all these different levels of awareness that we're moving through. That's what we're chasing, it's awareness. We are getting the results to a large extent because we're surrounded by people who are getting those type of results. So we wake up one day and we say, well, those are not the results I want. Would it make sense then to stay there? Of course not. It would make sense to start looking at people who are getting the results we want. And where are they? They are definitely on a different level. They are operating with a different level of awareness. They are up here. And then we say, well, okay, so I want their results. I want to go from where it's easier to lose to where it's easier to win. And what we're going to do then is to really take this lesson seriously, the one I'm going to introduce you to in a minute. Because when we do, we go from where it's easier to lose to where it is easier to win. And it happens almost like unadulterated magic. And there you have it. We have now become one of them. And at that point, my friend, it definitely is easier to win. That illustrates really what happens. We're moving up those different levels of consciousness. You and I are operating with a self-consciousness. We are self-aware. Now, below us, you have simple consciousness, such as in the animal kingdom, Lola and Chloe, my two dogs, they're operating with a simple consciousness. They can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch like I can. They are aware of their objective world. They live through their senses. But they're not aware of their subjective world. You and I are. We are aware, or we at least can become aware, of our subjective world. And that is really the key to it. And you can go higher and higher and higher. And way up at the top, you have what, religion would maybe refer to as divine consciousness. Science would refer to it as cosmic consciousness. And you can go higher and higher and higher. And the people you meet who are creating extraordinary results in their life, you'll find that they operate with a much higher level of awareness. They're extremely conscious. They're aware of their subjective world, and they're aware because it's translated into their results. They're aware of how to produce those results, in other words. There's really 7 levels of awareness that we want to talk about and become very aware of. And you'll find as we move through these 7 levels, you will have images and stories and episodes from your life trigger in your mind. I sure did when I went through it the first time, and I still do today. It's an amazing lesson. Let's look at it here. The 7 levels of awareness. We start down below the animalistic level, the animalistic simple consciousness. Again, animals live through instinct, live from the outside in, and that's perfect. For them, that's why they blend in their environment, they fit in. And you and I as human beings are entirely disoriented in our environment, and that is because we've been given the God-given gifts of mental faculties. They were put in its place where in us, instinct was removed and intellectual factors were put in its place. So we can think, but most people don't do that. They fall into the trap called mass consciousness. Think about it. You went to school, you were little, maybe you wore school uniform, and like all the other kids, and you did what you could to fit in. As a child, your biggest craving is acceptance of your peers, of people around you. So you do what you can to fit in, and then you grow a little older, and you get a job, and your biggest aim is just to do what the other guys are doing, and doing it the same way. You're still trying to fit in. That is how you were programmed. So it's very easy to fall into the trap called mass consciousness. Well, it's rational and normal that you should, yes, go to school, get the education, get the job so that you can pay the bills, so that you can do what everybody else is doing. Not saying that jobs are not important or education is, of course, it's vitally important, but why are we doing it? Why did I choose to go to the school I went to? When I ask myself that, the answer is I went to the school I went to because my friends went there. Why did I start in the music band I started in? I started in it because my friends did. Why did I date the people I did? I did because my friends did. You see, over and over and over again, we try to fit in. Now that pattern carries on throughout the entire life for most people. It's mass consciousness, it's mass motivation. The next level is aspiration. There's something within you that is urging growth, that is urging more on this physical plane. So it might be that you read a book, you participate in a seminar, you hear somebody say something, and that triggers something in you. You aspire to be more. Something in you that urges growth. And as you listen to that little voice, you're starting to develop as an individual, completely and uniquely you. You have been conditioned to such an extent that despite of that aspiration within you, despite of your soul urging growth, despite of the individual that is really urging to express itself in a bigger and more creative way on this physical plane, the individual who wants to step out of the box and do things different. Even with that, most people never go much further. They reach the aspiration, they want more, they say they want more. You hear the words, the noise that they're making with their mouth, but it's nothing but words. It's just noise. There's no awareness that goes with it because they've never stepped out of the box and actually done it. It's wishful thinking. So The next level is really the level that separates the pack here. You know, we can get to the individual seeking expression, but if we don't understand what discipline is and apply it consciously in our lives, we're not going to move beyond that stage. We're going to be knocked back into mass consciousness. Discipline is the ability to give yourself a command and follow it. You become a disciplined person when you are following your own laws, when you set your own guidelines and you actually act on them. How much discipline have we consciously brought into our lives? We say we want something, but we're not willing to pay the price. We're not actually doing it. Back to the gap between what we know and what we actually execute on. So discipline is giving yourself a command and follow it. When I wake up, I get up. No mental debate, nada. When I wake up, I get up. And then you get up and you do the same thing the next day. And if that doesn't work, you do it the next day until it clicks. You know, that illusion you saw there, I couldn't tell you how many hours is in it. I've been playing around with dots for a long time. I think I probably burned through like, I don't know, 10, 20 of those flip charts just drawing circles. Looking from the outside in, that, you know, it would be, a professional will probably classify that as insanity. I don't know. But I know it was necessary for me to get up every day and draw these circles to get this illusion to work. So I was committed to the end result, and I applied the discipline necessary. So discipline is an important word. That is the next phase after individual. After that, we have experience, because as you apply the discipline in your life, you're starting to experience different results. This is where learning truly comes in. So what happens is, if you're not willing to apply the discipline, you go back, and you go back, and your goal dies, and it becomes a wish and a hope, right? But the discipline is really what separates the winners and losers. People that win, a pro is at their best regardless. And then as you apply it, as I said, you move on to the next level, you start to experience different results. You see the results in your life starting to shift. And that is actually where learning comes in. Because you've taken a concept, you've internalized the concept, you've acted on the concept, and you changed a result. And the feedback you get to your senses from that change in result, that's learning. That's learning. Everything else up until that point is just gathering information. That's the trap most people find themselves in. The illusion of knowledge. I'm just going to know more. It's going to be ready. I'm just going to study more, and I'm going to study more. And of course, we know what happens. So, experience. Act before we're ready, because we will never be ready. And that brings us to the last and final stage in the 7 levels of awareness, and that is mastery. That is when you are in complete control over thoughts, feelings, actions, and results. Nothing can throw you off course at that stage. You've developed yourself to such a degree, you have developed your mental faculties to such an enormous degree that you have full control. You are controlling your destiny, you're taking absolute control of your life. And you decide exactly what it is that you want, and you are pursuing it. I really hope that you took a lot of valuable insight away from this video today. And to make sure you stay updated in terms of everything Real Magic World, including programs and live events, make sure that you enable your notifications, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel so that you will be the first to know.